What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. Obviously, as we persist throughout this Mercado, Juventus has one big thing they need to get done. It's sales. They got to move some guys along, and we got to get them out of the club. And then also, Juventus, potentially one big name that could excite me, maybe a couple of you out there. We'll talk about that, as well as some of the other updates when it comes to Juventus in this Mercado. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofrio. Today it is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. Of course, I got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you hear about each and every single day. Before we do anything though, do me a solid favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. And without any further ado, let's get into this bad boy. All right, very first up news conference update we have is when it comes to Cambiaso. Giovanni Albanese is reporting that Cambiaso will have his presser tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Juve time, so something to keep an eye out on if you're interested in that. Want to see some of the comments made by him. Obviously, a lot of those are going to be probably scripted, and you know, I love Juve, I want to be at Juve, yada 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 yada. Great, but maybe we'll get a couple of tidbits that might be interesting to hear from Cambiaso and, of course, the staff there at Juventus. So let's continue on, and let's talk about the news that you really care about, though, and that, of course, is let's talk about players that we're going to move on. We're going to try to get this deal done. First up, we have an update when it comes to Luca Pellegrini. Nico Skid is reporting the talks in progress for Luca Pellegrini's return to Lazio from Juventus. The left fullback pushing to rejoin Lazio, which have offered Juve a loan with an option to buy. The Bianconeri would like to include in the deal an obligation to buy upon reaching certain conditions. And obviously, we've talked about this in previous days. It looks more and more likely, especially with Pellegrini pushing to go back to Lazio, that he's going to kind of let the club, get pantsed once again when it comes to a deal in a situation there. Well, we really need to make sure that an obligation is being put in place so that way Juventus are not stuck holding the bag in the end. We continue on, though, and we go on with that. An update from Tuttosport says Pellegrini's transfer to Lazio could happen on Friday. Talks are underway for a loan with an obligation to buy. So obviously, if they have an obligation worked in there, great stuff. Let's get this thing moving on. And that's something to keep an eye on for this Friday. We'll probably have an update there of the situation going on with Luca Pellegrini. We continue on and talk about another player that could be moving out of the club. And this is what, again, I know a lot of you are not super happy about, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Sky Sport is reporting that Sule could be loaned out to Frosinone. The player wants to regularly play. He wants regular playing time. His agents are also looking at options outside of Italy. So obviously, if he could go to some other places, some bigger name clubs, that would be great for him. But obviously, if you're Juventus, I feel like the more and more he gets loaned out, the less and less playing time he has at Juventus, the looser that grip comes to the player and his future of being a Juventus player long-term with the club. So obviously, if you go to a place like Frosinone, not that worried about it. But if you end up going out to a bigger club or somewhere else outside of the league, that's something to keep an eye on. And of course, those of you that want to see Sule really thrive at Juventus, I don't know if that seems likely at this point. All right, let's continue on. Another player, of course, is Bianconeri. We need to talk about him. Tuttosport is reporting that Verona and Frosinone as well could also soon make a move for Bianconeri. So it's another name that they could be going after. So something to just keep an eye on if you like any of the youth prospects that Juventus does have. We go on and we talk about a competition that Juventus is going to be in for a player if they actually are interested in bringing him to the club. And now we talked a lot about selling. Now an option where they could buy or they could get some kind of deal worked out there. Gazzetta dello Sport, so take it with a grain of salt, is reporting that Amrabat is now a real target after selling Zaccaria. Fiorentina are looking to collect about 25 million euros for him. But if you want to get Sophie in, obviously there's going to be competition with Manchester United also pushing to bring him in the summer. And I think Manchester United have been pretty hot and heavy on this one. So it's something to keep an eye on. That might be a battle there at the end for the club. We got to talk about, I don't know why I keep saying we got to talk about, but we got to talk about stuff. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. Again, and then, of course, with the latest updates when it comes to Timothy Weah and having an American compatriot playing in the club, now you have another guy, Weston McKennie, who had come back, and they were looking all right in some of those preseason games together. But it doesn't look like for the future when it comes to Weston McKennie that he will be remaining with the club for long term, as obviously Juventus have been putting out feelers everywhere to try to get him moved on. Corriere dello Sport is reporting that Bournemouth are one of the teams interested in signing Weston McKennie. However, no offer has come in for the player, who is valued at around 25 million euros by Juventus. Obviously, like I said, what I said in the pretext there, interesting stuff I saw from Weston McKennie. Didn't hate it all, didn't love it all, but at the same time, I get it. We got to move this guy on. More likely, whoever's going to be willing to come to the table is who you're going to do business with. But we'll see what happens. Let's just keep an eye out there. Could he remain with the club? I guess. But at this point, again, that's my biggest issue with this entire Mercado, is that when you look at Juventus, when you look at the moves that they've been making, I don't know that I could argue that I feel like the squad's better. I just don't know that I could. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. Timothy Weah is a solid option, but I don't know if I feel like this is a better option. And then, I was getting to it. I was waiting for this story. And then obviously, I know. Just go ahead. Go ahead. I have fun with this at this time because I know it's probably not going to happen. But we have more reports now coming out, once again, resurfacing, as they always do around this time in the Mercado. It's for how many years now? I think it's been about 3-4 years plus, probably longer than that. But at least since I've been doing the channel, Nicolo Zaniolo back being floated. Rumors with Juventus. Fanatic in Turkey, it's a Turkish source, I guess, there is reporting that after the deal with Tete, Nicolo Zaniolo is one of the names eagerly awaiting for their fate at Galatasaray. The Italian, who has received offers from Juventus, could potentially be sold for 30 million euros. So obviously, we talked about it early on in the Mercado. There was some, murmurs when it came to Zaniolo. Kind of died off for a while there. Now, could it pick back up? Could this be just like the one option they end up going off for in the Mercado? I think I talked about when we knew things were going to be bad, when you're not going to get any big profile names. I wouldn't have hated it in this Mercado. Obviously, I like Zaniolo, so I would like to see Zaniolo play for Juventus if they could get it done, especially if it's an affordable option. I would like it, obviously. But we'll see. Zaniolo's, we got to get back at this. We got to get this thing rolling. Let's see what happens. Again, I'm not going to, bite my tongue. I don't know what the terminology I'm trying to use. I'm not going to put any money. I'm not going to bet any that Zaniolo will be a Juventus player by the end of this Mercado. It just seems like it's one of those things that just has to come out, and they have to link the two together, and we'll see what happens. But something to keep an eye on at the end of this Mercado. All right. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Do you like the ideas of Sule and Berenkea and all the other young players leaving the club? And then obviously let me know your thoughts when it comes to Zaniolo. If you haven't already, do me a solid favor. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. You can follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. Follow Bianconeri on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri. Say hello to the old lady for me.